welcome to the show on this Wednesday night. We got the midweek edition of Fox 5's Like It or Not ready to roll tonight. Marina is here.
Hi.
Britt McHenry is here tonight. Hello, Britt.
Hello, wearing cool mint green.
I'm glad you had to point that out because what do they say?
St. Patrick's Day.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm glad you clarified that because I don't have any on. There was some green on Marina's dress.
You had a green tie on.
I had a green tie on, but, we go cash for this show. So here's the deal. Normally, Angie's with us on Wednesday nights. It's Angie's birthday today, so she is taking her birthday off as she is allowed to. So we have a fourth square tonight. We got a first timer. We've been introducing some first-time guests. This guy's no stranger to Fox 5, but it is first time on this show. Donte Prestwood. He is from D.C.'s Ward 8. He does a little bit of everything. He joined me on the Final Five many times, and now I asked you a couple weeks ago, I said, do you want to do the show? You were all in on this, because just like everybody else, you're tired of talking about politics.
I'm tired of talking about politics. I'm so happy to be here. Usually you have me on late at night when it's dark. It's still light outside, Jim, so I'm happy about that.
That's the thing. And actually, here's the deal, because a lot of times on Final Five, we pre-tape the guests. I think every time I make you come in at 11:30 p.m.
Every time. I don't mind it, though. I don't mind it.
All right, we got a lot to get to tonight, so let's fire it up. It might be St. Patrick's Day, traditionally celebrated with a pint or two or several, but the AP has a new article highlighting the growing trend of sober bars. These are popping up all over. Last year, alcohol consumption in 10 key markets, including in the U.S., Germany, Japan, and Brazil, fell by 5%. And while alcohol still far outsells low and no alcohol drinks, global consumption of those kind of drinks growing 2 to 3 times faster than overall alcohol consumption. But buzz without the booze. It's St. Patrick's Day. Marina, like it or not?
Maybe not for today, but in general, I think I like it. I know these are like cool, trendy words, but as we work in this world now of mindfulness and people start to find who they are and be more at peace with themselves in the middle of this pandemic, people are maybe trying to shut off the booze, faucet. I know that at the beginning of the pandemic, people were drinking. It was like the thing to do because all that uncertainty. But now it's like 2021. For myself, I had damp January. I couldn't just cut it all off. But I don't drink at all during the week anymore, which before I'd have a little glass of wine here and there.
Yeah.
So I like it.
Troy, let me go to you on this one because let's be honest. When you look at like ways to unwind and recreational things, it almost always comes hand in hand with having a drink in your hand.
Yeah, I'm trying to picture myself with an IPA that's non-alcoholic. It tastes very wrong to me. Wrong. Listen, guys, I'm sorry, but I don't like it. I think if you go into a bar, you're supposed to go and get the booze. And the fact that, there's this growing trend, which I hope doesn't take off here in this country, of these, alcoholless bars. Well, look, in all seriousness, I know there's some people who are fighting addiction.
Sure.
And there's some people who, just don't want to be around alcohol or giving it up. I understand that. But for those of us who partake, leave our booze alone.
I will say this, Britt. I mean, a lot of us have a friend, or maybe it's us, where we choose not to drink, and you feel that peer pressure. This sort of eliminates the peer pressure altogether.
Yeah, a year ago, my answer would be different. A year ago, you'd find me, a year ago we had COVID, but let's say 2 years ago, you would find me at a Caps game at, Clyde's with 2 IPAs, and they're great crab dip. But now because of the pandemic, I've really cut back a lot, and I had some medical stuff in January. I told you guys on the show before where I had to really, because of that, force a dry January. And in 5 weeks of having nothing, I truly felt better.
Yeah.
I clearer in my head. I had a better sleep schedule. And so I was just thinking the other day, I wish one vineyard we like in the area had a non-alcoholic white wine, something that you could fit in with people without having to partake in the drinking. And believe me, like I said, your girl, it's St. Patrick's Day. I've loved a Jameson. I love a beer, but I like people having that option.
I'll tell you what, Britt, when we move out of this building in a couple of months, on the rack in the kitchen here, there are several bottles of some kind of non-alcoholic wine. I'll put one aside for you, and we could toast to that down the road. Troy wants nothing to do with that, but that's fine.
Perfect.
I'm sorry. but Britt, I do want to say kudos to you for at least thinking about your health.
Yeah,
that's important.
That's what it all comes down to. All right.
I tried.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of handing out fines for breaking rules in Florida, officials are rewarding spring breakers who follow COVID rules, all 10 of them. They're handing out $25 gift cards to beachgoers who wear masks and observe social distancing. People have to sign a pledge, though, promising to continue the good behavior. More than 18,000 people have already signed the pledge. Now, some say it's a smart approach. Others say it's not really going to make a difference, right? Rewarding good COVID behavior. Troy, like it or not?
So I like it because for the past year, I've been screaming from the mountaintop, from whatever perch I could find, to wear a mask, to get tested if you need to get a test, and of course to now get vaccinated if it's your turn.
And by the
so
way,
you've
been volunteering, helping administer tests, right?
Yes, absolutely. Right here in Ward 8, one of the hardest hit areas in the city. And so for me, I've been consistent since the beginning of this pandemic. And so if this is going to help these spring breakers wear a mask and follow protocols, I'm okay with it. Now, will they follow through on it? Probably not. But at least they're giving them the option. And plus, there's nothing wrong with having a little bit of cash.
I think it's so silly. It's like throwing away taxpayer dollars. Like they're walking around, I see the cops and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put on a mask. I want my $25 gift card. That's all it is. Are you kidding me? Spring breakers, they're there to party. Look, they're outside. As long as they hold their distance, then we should be proud that they're abiding by that. But I don't think the $25 is gonna go very long.
All right, so a lot of people are talking about Sharon Osbourne and her show, The Talk, is staying on hiatus for at least another week. Producer Jen has more on this one tonight. This got ugly.
The Talk is definitely seeing better days. Things are not going well over there. Did you guys realize that it's been on the air since 2010? I didn't realize that it's been on the air for that long. Yeah, I was doing research for it today. I'm like, did not realize that. So we'll see what Sharon's future is going to be on the show if she has one. Also, a lot of her stuff coming up. We always talk about TikTok trends. Lizzo's getting involved. A couple weeks ago, it was the feta pasta. Now there's a brand new one, and Lizzo's getting involved. We'll tell you all about it coming up. Fox 5's Like It or Not. Be right back.
Back with the question, do you procrastinate? A social science writer says it gets a bad rap, and it's not always a bad thing. Producer Jen has more on this, and I think you come to me every night and say, what do I want to do for my last word? and I waited to the last possible minute. You had to come find me.
But we were just talking about it, so you're probably somebody that works good under pressure like that. I'm not someone who can procrastinate, because if I did, we wouldn't have a show every night, so I can't do this. But there's a new article in Psychology Today. No, I don't read it. I saw it through Yahoo when I was looking through stories. But this writer's saying that pivoting elsewhere can actually be fruitful. So what he's talking about here is whatever your day job is, if you procrastinate on that day job, if you have a project that can wait and you do something else, some of the best things, some of the best books, works of art have been created with people who quote unquote cheat on their jobs. So it actually can be, good and fruitful for them. He's not saying that you can watch Emily in Paris and then it'll be awesome and you'll get stuff done. That's not how it works. Britt, how are you on this? Are you a procrastinator? What do you think about this one?
I am with Jim completely. I work much better. And I know that's it sounds like an excuse that you just aren't organized and doing things on time. Perhaps it's just some things, I don't want to do laundry. I will put that off forever.
Sure.
But I think when it comes to work and in our business, in journalism, when you're working on deadlines, there's just something in my head that clicks, that's more creative, that's more, insistent when I have a deadline. So I told y'all I buy planners every New Year's Eve. It's like a tradition. By February, I stop using it. I'm always, 5 minutes before the show getting plugged in. So I'm not the person to ask about planning. I'm a procrastinator.
Well, Troy, if you're somebody who's been involved in everything, which it seems like you have, does it work to be organized, or procrastination? Does that rule the day here?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both for me. It's a little bit of both. I mean, I'm certainly a procrastinator, but I'm also an organized procrastinator, if that's a term. Yeah. Listen, for me, I think I'm like Britt again. I do some of my best work at the last minute, even getting ready for today, kind of last minute. And so I think, some people just can't do it. Like my mother, she's not one of those persons. But for me, I can, down to last minute, that thrill, that rush of getting it in just under deadline. Yeah, sign me up for that.
Well, it has been just a week since Piers Morgan walked off the set of his show, Good Morning Britain. And now the show has another walk-off. We're going to show you that when we come back next.
More than you can go me
2021 Grammy Awards, called the Scammies by Twitter for a number of reasons, including the lack of nominations for South Korean boy band BTS and, of course, the Weeknd snubs. This despite the Recording Academy working to diversify its organization and membership over the last year. One writer for Pop Sugar says the Grammy still has a long way to go when it comes to diversity and inclusion and needs to expand its views as to what popular music is. The Scammies, Marina, like it or not.
100%. I think there's zero doubt in the last few years that the Grammys have faced a lot of blowback as to who they nominate, how they nominate. The fact that the Weeknd wasn't nominated a single time this year, enough said. And again, Ariana Grande has talked about this in the past. A lot of people have. I think above all, what this speaks to the Recording Academy is that they're elitists, and then under that, there are undertones of racism, sexism, and pretty much all the isms that you can find. I think the Recording Academy is comprised of songwriters, singers, and everybody who's out there in Hollywood making music, but then there's a private committee that gets to override those nominations, and nobody knows who these people are or who takes a vote. That in itself, I mean, that speaks wonders and for itself.
There was some triumph and some really touching moments when, for example, Tiffany Haddish found out that she had won. She wasn't even at the Grammys, but she found out while she was taping her show that she won for best Grammy or for a comedy album, and she became the second black woman since Whoopi Goldberg to win it. But Britt, as we look at the Grammys, I think we can all admit there's so much music out there that I think we all like, and so many diverse likes out there. You can't please everybody, but it seems like these are definitely skewed a certain way.
Yeah, in listening to Marina talk, I just started thinking about all these other, Hall of Fame things. I mean, Jim, you worked in sports, the Baseball Hall of Fame, how political that can get, and how writers, once they're in it, inducted into being a voter for it, they're in for life. And so I've wondered this about sports, how selective it is, and why would you have just a vote for life or other sports don't. So I agree. I think we need to listen to some of these top artists, The Weeknd, Zayn, Ariana Grande. These aren't like little flashes in the pan. These are certifiable multiple hit makers saying, hey, it's political. We were retaliated against. If, we didn't show up, we wouldn't get nominated. I think it does need to be examined. And after the ratings of this past one, granted, it's COVID, the ratings were terrible, like historically low. I think we need to re-examine it and include more diversity in women, for sure.
We got a lot to get to, so I got to move on here. After an emotional discussion about racism on The Talk, CBS put the show on hiatus, and it's now been extended for a week. And here's a clip a lot of people are still talking about.
Educate me. Tell me when you have heard him say racist things. Educate me. Tell me.
It is not the exact words of racism. It's the implication and the reaction to it.
Sharon Osbourne standing by Piers Morgan, who was criticized for saying he didn't believe what Meghan Markle said in her sit-down with Oprah. Osbourne said she felt like she was being placed on the electric chair for having a friend that some people think is racist. CBS is investigating. Some say the show should still go on without Osbourne. She's been with the show since she's the last one remaining from when it launched. The Talk on hiatus. Troy, like this or not?
So I like it. I think they have something to work out there at that show.
Yeah.
Let me just start with this. First and foremost, shout out to Cheryl Underwood, because she stayed calm and collected. She didn't, lose it the way Sharon did. She had, and here's the thing, she had to stay calm and collected, because as a Black woman on a national show, she would have been, ostracized as the villain. So shout out to Cheryl for keeping it together, keeping her composure. But listen, I don't know if it's just about Sharon. I think there's some other things happening at the show. One of the other hosts, Elaine, she also filed a complaint about some racial some racial issues there at the show behind the scenes. And so I think they have a lot to work through. And maybe a whole week will help them get there.
Yeah, Elaine Welteroth, she was fairly new to the show, and I give CBS credit for, The Talk and The View, they look similar, they are different shows. I felt like The Talk has always been a bit more, they've made a more concerted effort to have a diverse group of women, where I think The View has become just an echo chamber for the same political views and the same voices. But as you look at this, Marina, there's been so much reporting on it, and what may have been said, what hasn't been said. They have a real problem on their hands.
CBS doesn't know where to turn right now. This goes back to the days of Les Moonves and Julie Chen, his wife, who was on this show and was part of that original cast, with Sharon Osbourne, and now they're bringing her back into this to talk about all these like racial conversations and racist conversations that have been had off air, behind closed doors, and it seems like Troy said, there's way more than what we saw on air here, and that's why I think there's a hiatus. Typically, when there's controversial things that are said on a show, you don't just take the show off the air. The show continues. You may pull people back and let things calm down, but I think that there's a lot more going on, and CBS just can't have another explosion like they did with Les Moonves, so they really have to play this, conservatively, because they may be off the air if they don't.
Britt, quick reaction from you on this.
I echo what Marina said. If a show, we all work in TV, if a show is taken off the air, it is serious HR issues. It's a serious HR complaint. There's been a thread of various ones against Sharon Osbourne, calling some co-hosts like Holly Pete ghetto, allegedly. There's clips of her saying inappropriate things. And I think right now with the hate up against Asian Americans, we should be more aware and sensitive to the things we're saying. And so I'm glad they're investigating, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll stay tuned to this one for sure. And I think that there are two sides to every story. Sharon Osbourne is speaking out. We're certainly going to hear more on that. Speaking of Piers Morgan, he walked off a show following his Meghan Markle comments, and now somebody else has walked off of Good Morning Britain. Actress Patsy Palmer, known for her role in the British soap EastEnders, she's been open about her battles with drug and alcohol. She is now a wellness influencer, but didn't appreciate the title she was given. Take a look at this.
You know what, actually, I don't even want to do this interview because I don't even want to look at what it says at the bottom of that screen. So I'm just going to switch off, do a real Piers Morgan and just say it's not okay to have addict to wellness guru on the bottom of the screen.
Well, huge apologies for that.
My issues that I had years ago that were talked about by me many, many years ago, and it's over.
Palmer was criticized by some for what she did, but she doubled down, telling her critics to F off. I guess you could fill in the blanks for that. She didn't like the Chiron, Brit, like it or not.
You know what? I know this makes it difficult, for us hosting shows and TV. I know it must have been difficult for that show, and it's not a good week for Good Morning Britain. They've lost at least 250,000 viewers since Piers Morgan left. Kind of clever of her to coin it Piers Morgan in shutting the laptop down and leaving. But I do actually agree with her. I have faltered in my life. I'm sure you all have. Everybody has in some way. And sometimes while we're in the press, sometimes different outlets in the press like to constantly bring that up. And I think she made a good point. Was it tactful? No. But is that how you would like to be identified? So I actually stand by her.
I think there's a stigma, Troy. I mean, obviously, addict could be seen as truthful in its description, but it is also not a very artful way of describing it, especially when somebody has worked to counter that in their life.
Yeah, two things. I mean, I'm not familiar with this show. It doesn't air here in the country, so I don't know if it's more of a tabloidish type of, style of a show. But, that Chiron for me certainly wouldn't have been, I think, a good look. Listen, we all have a past, but she wasn't there to promote what she did. She was there to promote her present, with being a health and wellness influencer. So the fact that they tried to tie her past to her present, I don't like it. And, kudos to her for standing up for herself. I would have done the same exact thing.
All right. Yeah. Move over feta pasta. There's a new TikTok food trend, and even Lizzo's getting in on it. We'll be right back.
I'm trying the coconut water berry breakfast cereal. I had blueberries, strawberries, pomegranate, coconut water. Oh, it's good.
By the way, Lizzo's voice is very soothing. Yeah. She's doing the latest TikTok food trend called Nature's Cereal. Mixed berries, coconut water. Lizzo added ice too. It's been trending for a while, but it took off since Lizzo did it, and everybody's getting in on the trend.
Coconut water? Okay, let's taste it. Mmm. That's you, Mama.
Berries, ice, and coconut water, nature's cereal. Troy, like it or not.
I feel you, Jim. I love Lizzo's voice. It was very soothing, almost like namaste, right?
Yeah.
I don't eat cereal because of carbs and sugar and everything. And so I might try this. So I think I like it. It looks like it might be good. Interestingly, I put those same ingredients in a smoothie. So is this the unsmoothie? Is this what this is? I like it. I think I will try it, and I'll post about it on my social.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Troy. This is a smoothie before you blend it. Genius. I love
you blend it,
Yeah, I love Lizzo's voice. It reminds me of Harry Styles yesterday.
Right.
The lullaby. She's got a good voice.
Yeah. Britt, what about that? I mean, because we were talking about breakfast too, about yesterday, people who eat breakfast every day, they're more likely to get promoted at work. But I don't know. I mean, a lot of people prefer the bacon, egg, and cheese,
Yeah, I mean, I'll try it. I'm with everyone. I'll try it. But I just remember coconut water being like what people said you should drink when you're hungover in college and like spitting it out across the dorm room. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll like it. But I will, though, say before you finish with the last word, Jim, this is a little bit of the shepherd's pie I made tonight. So like I told you, I'm all about St. Patrick's Day. Maybe I'll have that for breakfast.
You teased it. Let's see it. I'll kill. You know what? We're going to do away with last word.
It's a little bit.
Oh. The way you held it up, it looked like you did some like elaborate meal here.
It's in the crock pot, but continue.
Oh, okay. All right. I was wondering what.
I was like, is that Foxy's bowl?
Where is it?
Oh gosh. Well, I got to tell you, like I said, I mean, the cool thing about that video was seeing the little kid get in on eating fruit. And and enjoying it. So I think that there's something to be learned there. And Lizzo, she makes me laugh. I think she's so entertaining in everything she does, and she's a hell of a musician too. All right, hey, that's it for the show tonight. Hey, Troy, I hope you had a good time. We loved having you with us. Please come back.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Britt, we'll see you back here on Friday. Marina and I will be back tonight at 10 o'clock here on Fox 5.
Britt, send us dinner. Look good.
What?